Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to Hate Live Beta Podcast Special PS4 Launch Night Edition. If you're watching this live on Twitch TV, I've already apologized to you in advance. As I said was going to happen, Twitch TV is having major technical difficulties the past 2 days. Lots of people having problems live streaming. I almost guarantee you it's because so many people have gotten advanced PS4s and they're all streaming at the same time. Just imagine what it's going to be like tonight when the rest of North America picks up their PS4. So if you're watching this live on Twitch TV, I apologize for any jitteriness or whatever, or frame drops. If the stream dies, just stick in there. It should come back. Okay? If you're watching this on YouTube, you don't have any problems. YouTube doesn't have problems with this kind of stuff. So lucky for you, you're watching this on demand on YouTube. You won't have any frame drops or any problems like that, or at least you shouldn't, okay? So I'm excited. It's Thursday, November 14th. It's currently 9 p.m. here in the United States on the East Coast. And I've got 3 hours until I go pick up my PlayStation 4. I've already gone to Gamestop. I've already gotten my number. I'm going to talk about that here in this episode. But what we're going to do, we're going to talk about a lot of topics. First, we're going to talk about what I've been doing this past week. We're going to very briefly review all the things that I've been doing, okay? Then we're going to talk about, obviously, the big thing, the elephant in the room, tonight, the PS4 launch, how I'm going to be covering it, how it's going to work. Then we're going to be talking about what games I've got. I actually bought a bunch of stuff when I was at GameStop and accessories and stuff for the PS4. I'm going to show you those. And then I'll explain to you, but I'll explain to you again how I'm going to be covering the PS4 launch with John Rambo, who's going to be coming to attend, and all kinds of stuff, all kinds of fun stuff. So definitely it's going to be an entertaining, interesting show. We are going to have a Back in the Day segment. The segment's going to be regarding 4 interesting questions that a viewer asked me for Ask the King last week. And I said, instead of going into mass detail on these questions on Ask the King, this would actually be a cool segment about my past in fighting games and my competitive Street Fighter days. And so that's going to be the Back in the Day segment. And then, of course, as usual, we are going to do live Q&A. So I'd ask right now that any mods that are in the chat, if you could please open up the poll so that people could submit their questions for the stream raffle at the end of the stream. My goal here is to do this within 2 hours or less, because at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, there's actually a press conference going live by Sony where they are going to hype the PS4, obviously, but they are going to show off some new games and things coming out for the PS4. Okay? I don't know if we have any mods on the stream right now because I don't see any mods talking at all. Alright, here we go. Lord Dark Soul, Solid Fantasy, they're all here. Okay. So, alright, they've opened the raffle. Very good. So, first of all, very briefly, let's get started and let's review what I've been doing this past week. It's been an eventful week. As you know, we are in the hardcore gaming season right now. It's absolutely out of control with the amount of releases that have come out. And these past 2 weeks in particular have been some of the heaviest for new games and new game releases. So, just a few weeks back, I had a triple release with Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, Battlefield 4 on the Xbox 360, as well as WWE 2K14. And I've had a hell of a time these past few weeks trying to cover 3 games at once. Okay? So, for those of you who have maybe not been paying attention or you've been waiting for the next gen to play certain games, you haven't been watching my footage, as of right now, alright, as of right now, it's official, I'm pretty much done with the playthroughs of Assassin's Creed 4, Battlefield 4, Call of Duty Ghosts, and WWE 2K14. As of right now, I've pretty much completed all of that. I've reviewed Assassin's Creed 4. The review went live just like an hour ago, not even. So you can definitely check that out on the King of Hate vlogs. In addition to that, I've reviewed Call of Duty Ghosts and Battlefield 4 head-to-head for the current gen versions, the Xbox 360 versions. And boy, did I have a lot to say. I kind of tore into them because I really do feel that those games were not optimized for modern consoles. I think one game was kind of just a cheap port that shouldn't have been made if it was going to be that bad. The other one, they tried to change the series up and completely went in the wrong direction. So check out the review if you would like to know my thoughts on that. It was a head-to-head review just like I did 2 years ago with Battlefield 3 and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. By the way, I would like to thank everyone for excellent attendance on the stream tonight. We've got over 1,000 people here for Hate Live. We almost never do that. Usually Hate Live has maybe, 700, 800 at most. This is cool. I'm really excited that you guys are so excited about the PS4, okay? All right, also this week I played the BioShock Infinite DLC called Buried at Sea. It's part 1 of 2 episodes. I loved it, all right? Over 3 hours of interesting content. If you're a fan of the original BioShock game and you played it, you're going to love the tie-ins that they've got with Booker DeWitt and Elizabeth to Rapture. You're going to meet up with some of the characters that you had interactions with in the original BioShock game. It's really well done. The combat's great. It's basically the combat from BioShock Infinite combined with the combat from the original BioShock, which is kind of crazy, I know, but I admit there were a few things in there that were a little lame, like there's the skyhook is there, and you're like, now wait a minute, that wasn't in the original BioShock, but now it's supposedly in Rapture, so maybe, because you didn't have a skyhook, you never noticed it? Yeah, right, I don't buy that, but at the same time, it's cool the way they did it. I think it's one of the best DLCs, I'll be honest with you, that I've ever played in my life. That's how well done it was. It was a 9-month wait for them to release this since the original release of BioShock Infinite. I actually feel it was worth the wait. So if you bought the Season Pass or you held off on buying the Season Pass, it's definitely worth getting, okay? I know there's been a lot of review sites. All right, maybe there was one review site, because I don't know in particular. I only know of one particular instance. IGN reviewed the game poorly, said that the DLC was not good, and that it was only 90 minutes long. It's a blatant lie. The person who obviously played the DLC did not actually play it properly. They probably rushed fucking through it without actually walking around Rapture, which is what you're supposed to do. The point of the DLC is to put you in Rapture before any of the crazy shit from the original BioShock game happens, so you can actually walk around and see what it was like to live in this underground city. If you skip that whole segment of the DLC, of course it's only 90 minutes long, but you're an asshole because you paid money for a DLC and you skipped the whole part of it. So if you want to be a fucking asshole and rush through the DLC, of course it's 90 minutes long. The reviewer who did that is an irresponsible asshole, should not be employed by IGN, but they just continue to give him money because they're fucking IGN, as in ignorant. They're fucking stupid. They're one of the worst outlets out there for any kind of game information and reviews, and no one should use their fucking business whatsoever for anything because they're not reputable. They're actually a fucking joke, okay? So the DLC was good, and I think that everyone should play it. If you still have BioShock Infinite, it was worth the 9-month wait. Definitely check it out, okay? Today I did something, well, let me just mention one thing. I did start Ratchet & Clank Into the Nexus on Tuesday. However, I'll be honest with everyone, not only was I not pleased with the game, I think that the game is quite boring. Pretty much there was no interest in it. And the stream that I had didn't even have the standard amount of people that I have for like a game that no one wants to see. And quite honestly, the videos on YouTube, no one was really watching them. Now don't get me wrong. The way I judge it is if I can get 1,000 views on a video, that means there's a significant amount of people that want to see it. Maybe it's not a hyped game, but there's still a significant amount of people that want to see it. When I can't even get 500 views on a video, and that's every video of the playthrough, that's a problem. That means that basically there's no interest in this. And when there's so much other stuff I could be doing, it's hard for me to decide what am I going to do. But the main focus, the main reason that I'm not continuing that playthrough at this time, I thought the game was boring. I really did. I was trying to make fun of it. Have fun with it and make jokes and stuff. It wasn't very fun. It felt exactly like every other Ratchet & Clank game, all right, except that there's now these new puzzle parts for Clank. That's it. It didn't seem like there was anything interesting in there, and I wasn't really enjoying it. I played for about 2 hours, and by the end I was yawning, all right? So that's why that playthrough is on hiatus, and I don't know if I'll ever go back to the game, but since there's no interest, and I was bored, I'm not going to suffer through it, okay? Okay. So, outside of that, today I did something completely different, outside of the box. It's been months since I played Street Fighter at all. I believe the last time, I could be wrong, so don't quote me on this, but I swear it's been at least 2 to 3 months since I played Street Fighter. If I remember correctly, the last time might have been like back in August. before I went on vacation. I'm not sure if that's true, but it feels like that. So today, for the first time in months, I spent about 2.5 hours playing Street Fighter. I played some Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, and then I jumped into Street Fighter 4. And I'll be honest, I'm rusty. I'm better at Third Strike than I am at Street Fighter 4 because I used to play that back in the day in actual arcades. And it was funny because sometimes I would body people and other times I got bodied. And it was like I did way better in Third Strike than I did in Street Fighter 4. But there were some really good matches and close ones in Street Fighter 4 as well. As of right now, I've uploaded 10 videos of each. I'm thinking that I may upload the rest of them in a day or two. I don't want to upload it now when all anyone's looking for is PlayStation 4. The last thing I want to do is send you guys videos when you want to see PlayStation 4. I understand that. So what I'm probably going to do, as I said, I'll wait a couple days, and then maybe I'll upload the rest of those videos. But there are 10 of each, 10 for Street Fighter 3 and 10 for Street Fighter 4 that are live right now on DSP Gaming if you want to check those out. I hope you will. A little bit of a time killer maybe until you can get your PS4 wherever you are. Okay? And now, that's about it. As of this afternoon, that was all I'd done. Now let's talk about my trip to Gamestop. Because I went to Gamestop to get a number for tonight's midnight release so that I could just walk right in and grab my PlayStation 4 rather than have to wait in line like everyone else, which is what they're going to be doing at midnight. It's going to be a nightmare, I know. And I also picked up some really cool things for the PS4 that we're going to look at together right now. So first of all, I went there, and when I got there, it was about, I'd say, 5:40 p.m., and they said that they were going to start taking or giving numbers out at 6 p.m. 5:40 p.m., there were about 15 people outside of the store already. I said, oh, shit. I got out of my car, I ran over there, and stood there for 20 minutes, which actually was a pain in the ass because my back was killing me, my leg was numb because of it. But I did manage to get inside the store. I paid off my PS4. I actually paid off everything, all the games, the accessories and everything, so I don't have to pay anything tonight. I can walk in, show them my receipt, get the PS4, and get the fuck out of there, okay? So, you might say to yourself, well, Phil, what number are you? If you remember, for Grand Theft Auto 5, I was number 60-something, but that was because I didn't really wait ahead of time. I kind of got in line at 6 o'clock, and there were already a good 50-something people ahead of me. This time, I waited in line. So you might say, okay, what did you get? What number did you get? I got lucky number 13. So, gee, nothing could possibly go wrong tonight when I go to pick up my PS4, could it? No, there's no chance whatsoever that something could possibly go wrong when I pick up my PS4 later tonight. Number 13. Alright, so, number 13 is what I got. And I also, like I said, bought several accessories and things for the PS4. So let's go ahead and show you exactly what I got for the PS4 so you know what to expect coming up in the next few days. So first of all, game-wise, what did I pick up? Well, I picked up Knack, which is the game everyone's been talking about. And this is some of the controversy we're going to talk about in a moment when I talk about the current events going on this week, okay? Knack for the PS4 even says right on the front, 2-player co-op, which is cool. That means John Rambo and I will be trying to do that 2-player co-op and see how it turns out. It says that this game runs at 1080p, supposedly, a full 1080p. Very nice. We got... Holy shit, this is crazy. I can't believe this. Battlefield 4 with a minimum of 2, a maximum of 66 players at a time. 66-player multiplayer in Battlefield 4. Holy fucking shit. That is ridiculous. I cannot wait to try to play a 66-player match of Battlefield 4 and see what it looks like. That's just going to be insanity, dude. Absolute insanity. Okay? Very nice. And that one runs, according to this, it claims it's 1080p, but most people are saying it really is only 900p. I guess we'll have to see. Alright, up next, this is a game that originally was not actually a launch title for PS4, and then it got bumped up. And I really feel it got bumped up because if you remember, the big driving game that was supposed to be on PS4, Drive Club, did get delayed till next year. It is Need for Speed Rivals. So it came out first on PS4. I'll be trying that out. I don't think that's 2-player local. I think that's it's 6-player. Yeah, it's 6-player multiplayer over the internet. So John and I won't be able to play that with each other, but we'll be able to see what the graphics look like of a next-gen racing game. Okay. And then this was one I hadn't talked about previously. Okay. I hadn't really talked about it at all. Actually, I wasn't even considering getting it. And some people kind of talked me into it over the course of this week. They were saying, Phil, you should get it. from all the footage that we've seen this week of people playing the PS4, this is the game that looks the best. And normally I'm not a graphics guy, but being that this is a new console and you want to push it to its limits and see really what's it capable of, and because John Rambo will be playing games with me tomorrow as launch week for PS4, I decided to get it. That's right, I got NBA 2K14. People are saying it's like photorealistically good. That's how good the graphics are. So I did get it. Okay. That one says it's... Oh, that one... John will be able to play that one with me because it says it's 4 players. Okay. Okay, very good. So, NBA 2K14. In addition to those 4 games, I want to remind everybody... Hold on. I want to remind you that I already picked up Killzone Shadowfall earlier. They actually gave this to me. Sold it to me, what was it, last week, I believe? Either the last week or the week before. Yeah, it was when I got Call of Duty Ghosts. That's right. So I already have Killzone. So I have 5 retail games right now to play for PS4 this week. Plus, keep in mind, I'm going to be getting indie games. And there's a bunch that people are really talking up. Contrast is the one that everyone's going to get free for being a PS Plus member. There's apparently some shmup game. I forget what it's called. It starts with an R. That everyone's saying is really good. And that'll be cool because John loves shmups, so we'll probably check that out. And Octodad, everyone's saying I should check out Octodad because it's hilarious, so I probably will check that out. And I'm going to be looking in, like I said, at the store to see what's available tonight. So that should be really good. I think that's going to be a pretty good launch lineup, even though some of these are already out for other consoles like NBA and Battlefield. I still think seeing these games on next gen is going to be pretty interesting. Okay, so... those are the games in general that I'll be checking out this week. And then in addition to that, this is something, again, I originally was not planning on doing, but so many people contacted me and said, Phil, we really want to see the functionality of this. We want to see, there's supposed to be a game for it in the PS4 that's free, and we want to see how it works. I got the PlayStation Eye, all right? Well, that's not what it's called. It's called the PlayStation Camera. I'm an idiot. I didn't even read the box. I was like, just give me that. I didn't even read the box. It's called the PlayStation Camera. Now, this is going to be interesting for multiple reasons. The primary reason being that I'm going to have to remove my Kinect and my current PSI from the top of my TV in order to fit this. And, of course, next week, the Kinect for the Xbox One. And I'm interested to see how it works. So, yes, John and I will be checking this out as well. The PlayStation Camera we'll be checking out tomorrow. Maybe even tonight I'll try to set that up. I'm not sure. Okay. Holy crap. We got over 1,200 people on the stream right now. Thanks, everybody. Wow. People are really hyped for the PS4. Alright, so. How am I covering the PS4? Let's review, because I've explained it multiple times, but I know there's more people on the stream now than have been in weeks. So let's explain it. My coverage of the PS4 will start as soon as I get home from Gamestop. In fact, I'm not even going to disconnect my camera or anything. I'm going to leave everything hooked up and ready to go. So I'm going to, around, quarter of or whatever, midnight, I'm out the door. I'll be heading to GameStop. I'm number 13, so it shouldn't take me more than, say, 10 minutes to grab my PS4, get out of there, get back here. Okay? Then I'm going to live stream. I'm actually going to zoom the camera out so you'll see it a little better. I'm going to live stream my live unboxing of the PS4. So you're going to see for the first time in my hands how big it is, how much it weighs, if mine's wobbly like some reports have said, what comes in the box, all right? I'm going to tell you how heavy it is because I think that's a big thing of contention, is it as heavy as the PS3? Then, once that's unboxed and we're sufficiently hyped, I'll probably unbox the camera as well because I haven't done that. Then we're going to hook it up. So I'm going to hook it all up. Boom, 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 boom. Right over here. It's going to take the place of my PS2, which is right there. I think it's time to retire the PS2. If I am going to play any PS2 games, more than likely I'll be able to emulate them on the PS3. Therefore, I'm probably just going to put my PS2 away for good. I don't think I'm probably going to be playing anything on it anymore. And, excuse me. And, so, the PS2 is going to go away. The PS4 will take its place on my gaming shelf there, my gaming mantle, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to hook it up, turn it on, and then we're going to go live. And I'm going to live stream, direct capture, everything going on as we boot this console up for the first time. Obviously, if there's personal information and stuff that I need to enter, I'll block out the screen. That'll be perfectly fine. You're going to literally go through a live walkthrough of how to do this. How cool is that going to be to see it live? This is the PS4. and we're going to do it interactively together, which I love. And so we're going to do that. And then once it's booted up, we've got the because there's going to be a 1 gig mandatory update I need to do. Once the update is downloaded and installed, once I've registered into PS Plus and all that, I'm on PSN, then I'm going to look through the dashboard. We're going to explore live the dashboard and everything together tonight. Okay? Now keep in mind, if you're not watching this on Twitch TV, if you watch the videos on YouTube, you're not left out. I'm uploading all this footage tonight. So it's not like, oh, damn, I'm left out of it if I can't tune into Twitch. Maybe my computer can't even handle a Twitch stream. You're still going to be able to see the videos on YouTube, no problem. All right? So don't worry about it. It's going to be direct captured. And that's the other thing. If there's massive frame drops, which I could see there's frames dropping right now from the stream, if there's massive frame drops tonight, you're still going to have direct capture with no frame drops. So either way, you get the best of both worlds. If you can tune in live, great. If you aren't able to tune in live, or if the stream sucks dick because Twitch is destroyed because everyone's trying to live stream at once, no worries, because it's still going to be on YouTube. So you're getting it no matter what, okay? Then once we go through the dashboard, we'll probably try out the PS camera functionality, see how that works. We'll probably jump around. Maybe, and I don't want to say for sure, maybe I will try to use the in-console streaming capabilities, and maybe I won't. I don't know if I even want to fuck with it tonight, all right? I can barely get a regular stream to work. I don't know if I want to fuck with that tonight, but I may. We're going to have the headset, by the way. The headset comes with it, and we're going to test the headset. Actually, Solid Fantasy, who is, a longtime fan. I consider him a friend for all this cool stuff that he's done to help me out over the years. He's going to get his. He lives in Illinois, so he's going to get his an hour after me, and once he gets set up and ready to go, I'm going to see if maybe we could do a chat. Do a live chat and test the quality of the microphone and see what it sounds like. Because if you owned a PS3, you know that the Bluetooth headsets for that system sound like you're taking a piss in the corner of a tin can and then taking a whopping fucking shit and flushing, and then you're talking into the shit and piss-filled water. That's what it sounded like on the PS3 when you tried voice chat. Hopefully they fucking improved it. Hopefully they improved it. Please, Lord, tell me they fucking improved it, all right? Oh, my goodness. Okay. So, that's the rough plan. And then once I'm done with all that, the last thing I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to go into the marketplace for PlayStation 4, whatever it's called. I don't even know if it's called PS Store or PS4 Marketplace, whatever the hell they're calling it. And I'm going to look at what's available, and I'm going to make some selections and download them. So I'll probably download Octodad and this game and that game, whatever games are available. I'm going to be downloading them tonight, okay? And so that way they're loaded up and ready to go. Then I'm going to go to sleep. And I know it might be hard for me to even sleep because I'll be so excited about having this new console. And I'm going to go to sleep, and then I'm going to get up tomorrow morning, and John Rambo will be here at noon. So noon Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. John Rambo will be here. Oh, excuse me. And that's fine, too, because I'm probably going to need time to charge up the controllers overnight. So I might even leave the PS4 on overnight with the 2 controllers plugged in, just charging. And then when I get up and John Rambo shows up, we're going to be doing co-op in all of these games. Everything. We're going to try the camera. We're going to try all of these games. We're going to try the indie games. So it's going to be a day where we just fuck around with the PS4 for all day. So it's basically going to be an ongoing live stream for most of the day. I know you guys are going to be excited for that. And obviously I'll be recording all of that footage and uploading it to YouTube subsequently. And the good thing is, so far so good. My internet's been so good the past few weeks that I have been able to live stream and upload at the same time and not have any problems. So again, even if you're not able to catch wherever we're doing on the live stream, it'll be uploaded and sorted and neatly put into playlists and stuff on YouTube, on DSP Gaming, so you won't miss out. So, we've got quite a lot of stuff to do with PS4. Just in the first day, it's going to be crazy, okay? Now you might be saying, all right, Phil, but how are you going to handle the rest of the week? Well, probably what I'll do after playing all these games on the first day, I'll see which ones I liked the most, and I'll probably jump into campaign playthroughs of them. I'll be honest, it'll probably end up being Knack and Killzone, maybe Need for Speed. I'll try to play through the campaigns of those games, but at the same time, maybe focus on multiplayer, so maybe try to play some Battlefield 4 multiplayer seriously. With the 33 players on a fucking team, it's insane. And I really feel that's going to be good. I do. I do feel that it's going to be pretty good, and it's going to be an exciting week. So that's going to be the week, okay? That's the week. You probably won't see any other vlogs. I do have a DSP Tries It that's ready to go. I just haven't edited it yet. Unfortunately, and I hate to say unfortunately because I really want to do this, but I haven't had a chance to review WWE 2K14. I've now played every mode of it as of yesterday, and I haven't had a chance to review it. I'm just so busy with what's going on this week with all gaming. I have not had a chance to review the game, and I know it's unfortunate. I wish that I could review it, but I haven't had a chance yet. If I get a free chance this week, I'll try, but I think all anyone's going to want to hear about this week is PS4, 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 and no one's going to give a flying fuck if I review WWE at this point, but we'll see. Okay. Alright, so insane hype week. Now, one thing you might wonder, next week will I be doing a Hate Live? And the answer is it's highly dependent on how far I am in these games and if I want to do it and talk about what my experience is with these games. More than likely, I probably will be. And after gaming overload this week on the PS4, it probably will be a good break for me. Plus, keep in mind, midnight next week, Xbox One. So next week's Hate Live will probably be a combination of my experiences with the PS4 this week and comparing that and combining that with the hype for the Xbox One next week. So that's the way we're going to handle it. There will be a Hate Live this week coming up, and that's what's going to be on it, okay? Now, that's enough for current events. That's enough for, how I'm going to be handling the launch. But now let's talk a little bit about the gaming news that's been coming out this week, okay? Because there is some interesting news from various different sources. And first thing is that there is a video on the internet of someone who received a PS4 in advance. I don't know if they were a reviewer or just a gamer who was lucky and got it early. And they said, this is weird. It's like, it's warped or something. And they actually put it down flat on their table and was touching it with a finger, and it was wobbling. So the bottom wasn't flat. The bottom was curved. And he's going, wah, 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 wah. And apparently he's not the only one. More people are coming out and saying, yeah, we got our PS4s, and it looks like they're almost mismanufactured, where they don't sit flat. And I think that's really freaking weird. That is really, really weird that would happen. But at the same time, I don't know. Maybe because they hadn't mass-produced it yet, there were issues. I don't know. I don't know what exactly would cause the PS4 to be made so fucking warped like that it doesn't sit flat. It almost doesn't seem to make any logical sense, right? So, I don't know. But that's just one of the things that have come out this week in regards to the first wave of PS4s that people are talking about. It's not flat, and it basically goes womp, womp, womp when you touch it. Okay? Number 2. All the mainstream gaming media this week decided to come out with their advanced reviews of the games on the PS4. Okay? And they said, oh, knack, it's archaic, it plays like a PS2 game, and it seems like the plot's kiddie, but the gameplay is very difficult. It's crap. Don't buy it. And they said, oh, Killzone Shadowfall. It's a generic FPS. It's crap. Don't buy it. And that's how they're basically reviewing all these games. And a lot of people are like, what the fuck? Like, really? And some people, honestly, some people have been saying, gee, I'm having second thoughts. I even heard a couple people in the stream chat the past couple of days have been saying they went and canceled their PS4 pre-orders. Whoa, really? You're going to cancel your PS4 pre-order based off of a review from an advanced copy of a game? You know what I mean? And you're going to base your entire purchase decision off of what a few people said on the internet. I don't know, man. For me, here's the way I see it. And I made this argument on stream earlier this week. A lot of people agreed. Some people very much disagreed with me. Here's my opinion, and here's how I feel. Advanced copies of consoles and games should not happen anymore. I think that everyone on the planet Earth should be on equal ground when it comes to when these things are released. First of all, I think that every game should have a worldwide release date. Now, these companies, the marketers, and the logistics people, they'll make every excuse under the sun to complain to you and say it's not possible. They're full of shit. The bottom line is they could do a worldwide release for any game. It would just cost them money. So, oh no, I want to save as much money as possible and have the most profits. I don't want a worldwide release for the game. Well, fuck you, all right? There should be a worldwide release for every game. I believe that firmly. That worldwide release should be equal for everyone, all right? Everyone should be able to play the new games on the same day. not that this guy from IGN got it a month in advance, and this guy because he works for some fucking website, and this guy because he works for Gamestop and he's a corporate manager, and Joe Schmo. It's an elitist group of people who get this shit ahead of time, and then it depends on the person, obviously. Some people take their job seriously and some don't. And so you end up getting these websites, these businesses, these media outlets that get stuff ahead of time, review it, and that review directly affects whether or not people are going to buy the game. Now, if it's done poorly, if it's a person who's not responsible, and they do a poor job of reviewing the game, you may actually cost sales. And like I said, I've seen people actually in the stream chat this week say, based off of these initial reviews, they're not getting the PS4 anymore. They're going to save their money. And it's like, wow. Okay? Now, here's the thing. Why did advanced copies of games start? Why did these media companies get these advanced copies to begin with? Well, let's go all the way back to the 1980s and 1990s. Back to the time of Nintendo Power, GamePro, EGM, Game Informer, which it wasn't called Game Informer back then. It was called something else. I forget. And then later on it changed to Game Informer. There were maybe like 4 or 5 major print magazines in the United States. I know in Europe there were 1 or 2. In Japan, I'm sure there's what's that one that everyone talks about that's been around forever? You know what I mean? They've all had these things. And the thing is, in those days, there was no internet. The internet existed, but no one used it. You know what I mean? It wasn't like it is today. It wasn't instant gratification. You get all information instantly. So in order to get a review of a game, someone would have to get the copy of the game in advance, play through the game, write the review, would have to go through the editing process, finally get printed in the magazine. The magazine would have to be physically produced, mass-produced. Then that magazine would have to be mailed to the fucking store and or to your house. Then you'd either have to get it through the mail or go to the store and buy it. You're talking massive amount of processing and logistics time, production time. And it honestly, if you measure it, it's about a month. It really would take about a month from the period when a guy gets the game, plays the game, writes the review, to when that magazine will actually be in the hands of the line-level customer. So, in that case, you needed advanced copies of games if you were part of the gaming media, because you wanted the review in the hands of the person the day when the game came out, and the only way to do that would be to get the copy early, alright? Why the fuck do we need that today? Who the fuck are they that they get these games ahead of time? Why do we need a review of Knack a week before the game comes out and you can play it for yourself that basically says, well, it's made for kids, but it's too difficult and plays like a PS2 game, 5 out of 10. What the fuck? What kind of frame of reference is that? Is it fun? You didn't even address that. You had 2 stupid negative things. You know what I mean? Everyone should get these games at the same fucking time. Because the problem is when someone gets this ahead of time, they immediately become an authority because they're just one of the few people that has it. But that doesn't mean that they're fucking intelligent. That doesn't mean that they've done their work, that they're a legitimate person who's a journalist who's has integrity and is going to do their job well. It just means he's a fucking asshole who got the game ahead of time and all of a sudden now he's a guru because he got it ahead of time. It's bullshit. And we need to stop this archaic process of trusting this mainstream media just because they get the shit ahead of time. So you might say to yourself, well, Phil, that does make sense. If they needed it in advance to make print magazines, then that's why they did it back then. But why are they still doing it? Why is Sony sending Knack and sending these games and PS4s to people ahead of time? There you go. There's your answer. Because they're so scared that if they don't get a good advanced review of a game, that they won't make any money. And that's the thing. The business model is broken. If it's a new console, you buy it, you play the games yourself, you judge whether it's good or not, okay? And then you spread that information all on launch day. Here's what I have to say. So let me ask you this question. For Killzone Shadowfall, yeah, all the people that panned the game and said it's bad. Did you play the multiplayer? Because guess what? Almost no one had the game. So how the fuck did you play the multiplayer? So if anyone has reviewed Killzone Shadowfall before tonight, when the console's out, you gave a fake review. You fucked yourself and you gave a fake review. Because you can't review a game based off of half of the fucking game. And this is the problem. You had games this past year where a major component of the game was online. People were trying to play the game before the game was launched, so the online wasn't even implemented yet. So how the fuck can you tell me that's a review? It's not. It's called bullshit. It's called speculation. It's called not integrous or no integrity in it. And you shouldn't trust it. And I hate the mainstream media that fucking do this because they don't deserve to get these games ahead of time. I'm the kind of person, I will wait in fucking line. I will go like I did earlier today. I will go at 6 p.m. I'll wait in line like everyone else because I don't think I'm better than anyone else. I'll get my number to go pick up my console. I'll go pick it up like a normal person. Now, I'm going to be honest with everyone. I could have, in the past, and in fact, some people have contacted me regarding this, gotten advanced copies of video games and played them before anyone else. I could have. Guess what? I don't want to because I don't think I'm better than you. I don't. I think that we all should, like I said, should have a worldwide release and we should all be doing stuff at the same time and experiencing it together. It's a feeling of camaraderie. It's a feeling of, wow, this is a worldwide event. Everyone's getting their PS4 right now. Everyone's playing it. I like that. And it's equal. I like to have equal footing with you. I wouldn't want to get a game 3 weeks ahead of time, play it, and be all snooty about how I already played it and, oh, I'm so special. Because that's not me. That's not my personality. That's not how I've ever been. So it's absolutely preposterous that these fucking people do this, get these games ahead of time, and I don't think that anyone should be giving these guys the time of fucking day. I don't think that any review that was written before when the game's out should even be heralded as legitimate. And I think that these people should be chastised for not being legitimate fucking reviewers, having no integrity, and just being assholes. So there, I said it. So, as I was saying in the news, right now, a lot of these games are getting panned. Oh, this game sucks, that game sucks. Listen to someone who's trying to be genuine with you. If you're getting a PS4, don't let what these assholes say deter you. It's the new generation. You're going to have some wins and some losses. You're going to have a great game and you're going to have a shitty game. It's going to happen. Do you remember the launch lineup for Xbox 360? Cameo? Perfect Dark Zero? Remember these games? No one remembers those games, and no one ever played them again because they weren't very good. Traditionally, the launch lineup for a console usually isn't that good. Usually what they do is they try to wait a few months so everyone buys the console, so they release a really great game that maybe is optimized for the system. Undoubtedly, over the next few years, these game developers are going to find ways to make amazing games for these consoles. Take a look at the games on PS3 when the PS3 launched versus some of the photorealistic games we've played recently, like Beyond Two Souls, The Last of Us. These games look fucking amazing compared to what was coming out on PS3 when it launched. So, over the years, you're going to get better games. Don't let your purchase decision on if you want to buy a new console at launch to be part of that experience be deterred by a bunch of little stodgy assholes who think that they're more important than you and they know better than you just because they got an advanced copy of the fucking console. Just because they don't like knack doesn't mean you're not going to like it, especially because a lot of the times their reviews don't have any kind of objective stuff in it. Oh, it plays like a PS2 game. Oh, so what? It's a little bit tougher? Maybe the control scheme is a little bit more archaic, but is it fun? And that's what I find a lot of the times when I read these reviews. No one says if the game's fun. Because it could be the best graphics, the best gameplay ever, but when you played the game, did you enjoy it? I don't even see that anymore. I just see stupid subjective shit left and right about nitpicking the fucking games apart, and I don't see anything legit anymore in these fucking reviews. It's ridiculous, and it's childish. It's more childish than the childishness of knack. And I hate that the mainstream gaming media right now isn't held accountable for it simply because, oh, well, it's an emerging business. You know, games just in the past 5 years have really started to make major money and compete with motion pictures. So we can still let these fucking immature assholes be the people who review the games? No, because when you get the advanced copy of Knack, you're the number that shows up on Metacritic before anyone else, and people judge off of that, and it's bullshit. Okay, so I got all that off my chest. The other thing that I want to talk about are the reports of major hardware failures with the PS4. So let's talk a little bit about that. Most common one right now seems to be issues with the HDMI port and or the HDMI cable. Some people are saying that it's working, and then all of a sudden maybe they download a piece of software and the video goes off, and they're like, huh? And they try doing, restarting, system restore, using different cables, unplugging the console from the internet, and nothing seems to be getting it working again. It just seems to be fucked up. And that's unfortunate because, again, launch console, what's the most important thing? And especially with the PS4, it's incredibly important because if you remember, there's no other video output. It's only HDMI this time around. They don't have a component. So, well, one fucked up, at least I have a backup. There's no backup this time. So if the HDMI blows out, you're fucked. You've got a bricked console. All right? That seems to be the most common thing. Some other people are saying the HDMI cable that comes with it is kind of shitty, that the HDMI cable fucks up if you even bend it the wrong way. So, I mean, for that, okay, I think that's bullshit. I think that Sony should have put a good cable in there. At the same time, for me, that's not a concern, simply because I have a shit ton of extra HDMI cables that I ordered earlier this year just for something like this, so I knew if I would need a better cable, I would have one, and I should be okay in that regard, okay? However, apparently in the news today, and now keep in mind, no consumers bought this thing yet. We're talking only about the consoles that went out for advance. So people, in the review community, that kind of stuff, those people who got those consoles, supposedly reported by Sony today, they said the failure rate on the PS4 so far is less than 1%. Okay? And I'll be honest, a less than 1% failure rate is pretty damn good for any kind of electronic product. And I think the reason that some people, they're turning this into such a big controversy right now is because unlike previously, all right, and previous console launches, we didn't have social media back then. So, of course, whenever something launches, there's going to be faulty hardware. There's no way you're going to have 100% of your units that work. There's going to be production problems. There's going to be even just the components. Maybe the HDMI port hardware that Sony purchased for the PS4 to install, whatever company manufactured that, which might not have been Sony, mismanufactured a few. That's not within Sony's quality process to be able to catch that. How would they know? And they can't test every fucking console possible. Of course, they probably could, but it would cost them $1 bajillion. So you're always going to have, launch time frame problems with hardware and when it comes out. So I'm not surprised to hear that some people are complaining that they had this problem, but what I'm surprised is that so many people are trying to blow it out of proportion, when in reality, again, I just think this is the only time where we've had social media where people can go on Twitter and Facebook and actually bitch about it and get lots of attention about it, as opposed to previously you didn't have that. So what I would say is this: don't be afraid to go pick up your PS4. Chances are it's going to be fine. If it's not, you're one of the unlucky ones, more than likely you'll be able to find another one, or hopefully your store you got it from may have extras. I don't know. From what I'm to understand, a lot of places PS4s did completely sell out with reserves. You may have to wait a little bit for the second shipment to come. But Sony seems to be good about it. With the PS3, if I remember correctly, I don't think that they had a shortage after the first wave. You had to wait a few weeks, but then after that, I'm almost positive that they were kind of in stock. If I remember correctly, they have different models back then. They had a higher end model and a lower end model, and I think one of them completely sold out. So if you did end up getting a faulty one, you had to get the lower end model or whatever. I think Sony will be good about it. Now, I could be wrong, but I think Sony will be good about it, and I think that you'll be able to get probably another one within a relatively short period of time. Hopefully, fingers crossed, because I still remember the Xbox 360 launch. Oh my God. When I got the Xbox 360, I got it the week after launch because someone had returned one. Within 2 weeks, it red ringed on me. And after it red ringed, I couldn't get a replacement for like a month and a half. They just didn't have them. There was no, you know what I mean? I couldn't get it until I think I turned it in January. I didn't get one until either the end of January or early February when they got more. So here's hoping there will be enough supply to actually keep up with the demand and all these kind of problems that are going on with the launch consoles. So, the last thing that I want to say, and if you're watching this on Twitch, you undoubtedly already know what I'm about to say, is with this PS4 launch, I made a video about this a day or two ago. And I uploaded it to YouTube, which is a rare thing for me. Usually I don't upload an alert or a vlog or something like that to YouTube if it's in relation to only Twitch. But the Twitch-ocalypse is nigh. And if you're watching this on Twitch TV, you already know what I'm talking about, because I can see my streams dropping frames of animation right now. And I can confirm with you that it's not my internet, because I've been testing my internet all week. My internet's been great. The upload rate, the download rate is fine. It's Twitch. Twitch TV right now has increased volume because everyone got their test copies of the PS4 this week, and they've all been testing out the live streaming. And Twitch servers are being slammed. The other day, I went to live stream, and Twitch said, I went to live stream. I turned on my stream, and there was no option to change quality. And I actually contacted Twitch support. I said, what happened? Why am I stuck on one quality and I can't change? They said, because the quality transcodes are now in shorthand. Hopefully in a few hours we'll be able to get them back. I'm like, what? What the fuck does that mean? Basically it means the website can't keep up with the amount of people that are streaming, and Twitch has to fix something to get it to work again. So just imagine, that was when just the advanced PS4s were given out. How is this going to affect Twitch TV? Once everyone in their hands in North America has their PS4, and every person picks up their controller and presses the share button and starts live streaming on Twitch at the same time. That's why I'm kind of really worried about my launch coverage tonight. As much as I'm looking forward to the possibility of doing a live stream of the launch of the PS4, it may not go as planned because I don't know if Twitch is going to be able to hold out, all right? So if that's the case, if everything goes to hell in a handbasket tonight, you know you could still watch the videos on YouTube, and I promise you I will have them up in a timely manner overnight so that you can watch them, and they'll be live in time for tomorrow when I actually play games with John Rambo, okay? Okay. So that's pretty much it for the first segment of our special PS4 Hype Edition of Hate Lie. What I'm going to do now is take a short break. If you're watching this on Twitch TV, please bear with me. I'm going to run you a cool montage of fan art that people made for me this week of PS4 images. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can go ahead and look at the timestamp in the video, okay? And just click right on it, and you'll jump ahead past the commercial break right to the next segment, which is going to be back in the day where I'm going to answer 4 really cool questions regarding my history with fighting games, all right? Okay, so that is it for segment 1. I'll see you guys in a few short minutes. I'm actually going to go reload on my water here. We'll be back for Back in the Day, so don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. crap. I cooked the wrong thing. Here we go. Alright, everyone. So welcome back to Hate Live. This is segment number 2, which is back in the day. And a little out of breath. I actually just ran to my front door to check if I had a package. I did, so thank you, Dr. Zombius. I did get your package today. Okay. So, back in the day. What is this segment? This is the segment where I reminisce on my history growing up as a gamer. And one major part of my gaming history was during the period of time when I was a competitive Street Fighter player. And it varied over the years. I was in the 1990s. Basically, I loved Street Fighter. I played the hell out of it, but I never even heard of like a competitive scene. You can actually go somewhere and participate in tournaments and stuff like that. It was all foreign to me. About late 90s into the early 2000s, I was finally exposed to that scene when I was playing games at a competitive level, such as Marvel vs. Capcom 1 and 2. Later on, it crossed over into other games, such as Capcom vs. SNK 2 and Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. But over the years, the one game that I found to be, at least for me, my favorite Street Fighter game of all time, and the one that I played at the highest professional level, was Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. And it's funny because over the years there have been so many different versions of this game, but to this day, only the original arcade version seems to be held in the highest regard. All the ports and the console adaptations and things of it, people still complain they're not arcade perfect, and there's people still say, why weren't they able to make an arcade perfect representation of this game? And no one can really give a legitimate answer. So Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo was the game that when I was at the peak of my Street Fighter skills, I was actually able to win multiple tournaments. I was ranked high in many tournaments. I actually got 4th place in the Nationals. It was pretty crazy, and it was a wild ride. So I actually have a viewer who earlier this week, actually was a week ago, okay, about a week ago, a fan of mine named Private Joker, he put 4 questions regarding fighting games and my history in fighting games into the thread for my Ask the King, which is, if you're not familiar with it, it's my fan mail series where I take in questions from fans and I answer them live. And these 4 particular questions are kind of interesting in regards that for most of them I could probably elaborate on them and give you guys some interesting insight into the kind of stuff that I used to do when I was as a competitive fighting game player. And I said, you know what, rather than try to rush through them and Ask the King, let's actually elaborate on them and make them an official back-in-the-day segment for Hate Live. And that's what we're going to do tonight. I'm going to actually answer these questions in detail, and I think you're going to find the answers interesting, okay? All right, so the first question that Private Joker asked, he said, Phil, during one of your videos where you discussed an upcoming topic for Hate Live, you mentioned talking about the fighting game community when you were a tournament player and losing a $1,000 money match. However, you never told the story. Can you tell it now? You know, I have to say this. Fighting games, or any video games, doesn't have to just be fighting games. Any video games can be very addictive, okay? To the point where you take it to like almost a gambling level and you could just blow money. Now keep in mind, until I'd say probably my entire life until I had my full-time job, the one that I got laid off from, that I held for about 4 or 5 years, I never really made decent money. It was always like part-time work here or there, a little bit of money here, a little bit of money there, commission job, but then I get screwed over by my management. So I never really had a lot of money. And for me to be making bets like I did, and keep in mind it wasn't a frequent thing, but when I did, it was taken pretty damn seriously. Was pretty ballsy, especially because the money, you know, I could lose. If I lost the money, there was no way to really make it up quickly. That money was just gone, and it wasn't like, oh, it's nothing to me. No, it was a real impact to me and my finances. And before the days of when I was actually playing Super Turbo at a high level, there was the period of time when it was kind of like maybe the interim time when I played games, I played them at a tournament level, but I didn't win all the time. It was maybe once in a while I would place high or be like maybe mid-tier. I guess what you would say is, let's say, for example, if you're talking about pro wrestling, you got the lower tier, the jobbers. All right, those are the guys that enter and always lose. You got the middle tier, which are kind of like the mid-card guys. Every once in a while they get a push and they get to the top, but then usually they end up falling back down. Then you got the top guys who are always dominant at the top. I was kind of in the middle, where every once in a while I would do really well at a game like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 at a tournament. I would get top 5 or top 3. Other times I just completely choke and fuck up. And I'll be honest, back then I had a humongous fucking chip on my shoulder. You know, now when I play games, I joke around, I get angry, oh no, lag, and, you know, this guy's a scrub and he beat me, and I get pissed off. And sometimes I am legitimately pissed off because I lost because of lag, but I don't see myself as a tournament level player. And like Street Fighter 3 or Street Fighter 4, no, absolutely not. I would not tell you I'm a tournament level player in those games. I don't play them professionally. I don't even play them that much at all anymore. Anything that you see when you watch me play those games is like the taste of what I used to be when I took them seriously, all right? But back then, I had a giant fucking chip on my shoulder, and it was like, I can beat anyone. I'm not afraid of anyone. I don't care how much they practice. I don't care if they don't have a job like me. I don't care if they basically don't go to school, don't have a job, and all they do is play Street Fighter, and that's why they're good. I don't care. I could still beat them. And obviously, that's a stupid mentality, because this was a time, and I'm not kidding you, there were people who wanted to become pro fighting game players. This was, by the way, before the time of YouTube. So it wasn't about, oh, I want to be a pro fighting game player and I want to be huge on YouTube and make YouTube money and be on Twitch and be a stream god and have people worship me on Twitter. No, none of that existed back then. For me, it was just the bragging rights of saying I can beat anybody, okay? But there were people who would literally didn't go to school, didn't hold jobs, all they did was play Street Fighter. I have no fucking clue how these people had money to do anything, but they did. I guess they did leached off their parents. They found some way to make money because all they fucking did was play Street Fighter nonstop, and so they would be the ones who would dominate all the time when it came to Street Fighter. And I was the kind of person, I said, no, I'm always the underdog because I have a full-time job, I'm going to college, I have all these other things that are more important than Street Fighter to me, but I'm still going to come to the tournament and whoop your ass and embarrass you, because shame on you if someone who plays Street Fighter all the time is going to lose to me. And so there were a few people who I had storied rivalries with over the years. One of them was Josh Wigfall in New York City. He was primarily Marvel vs. Capcom 1, we were rivals. And then when Marvel 2 came out, we almost became allies, because that's when the tournament scene went from like local, where it was New York versus Connecticut versus New Jersey, to the national stage. So now it was like East Coast versus West Coast versus Texas, and it was different. It was very different because it expanded as a stage. So we kind of became allies at that point. And there's always been rivalries in the Street Fighter community, but at one point, for whatever reason, I ended up getting a rivalry with two people from Florida, one of which his name was Remix. He was an exceptionally good MSP player. All right, if you know what MSP is, Magneto, Storm, Psylocke. One of the best teams in the game by far, because it was one of the fastest teams. The Psylocke assist, if you don't know Marvel vs. Capcom 2, you'll have no idea what I'm talking about. The Psylocke assist is one of the fastest, launches you up, and could lead to massive potential to get infinite or lose your character, all right? But at the same time, that team takes a lot of skill to play with. You have to really have great hand-eye coordination. You have to not drop combos. It's not like Marvel vs. Capcom 3, where every character can hit you once and lead to a 100% combo. No. In Marvel vs. Capcom 2, it took a lot of effort to do 100% combos. So, he was very well respected as a high-ranked player in the Florida area. And I don't remember, it's so long ago, and I really don't remember any of the drama or anything surrounding it. But I believe I bet him something like $500, right? I said, I'm going to bet you $500 and I'm going to challenge you at some tournament. And I remember when we held the money match, it was at 8 on the Break, which is a arcade still there in Dunedin, New Jersey, where the East Coast Championships were held annually. This wasn't the East Coast Championships. It was some smaller tournament that they were holding there, but he just happened to be coming to it. And then ultimately, I talked so much shit about this guy, Remix, that eventually another guy from Florida who was his friend, his name was Blazini Flo. Great name selection there, buddy. But he also was like, oh, fuck Phil, he's garbage, he's a scrub, I can beat him too. However, Blazini Flo was not really seen as like a high level. He was like me. He was a mid-level player. Every once in a while, he could really play solid and do extremely well. But for the most part, he was considered like a mid-level guy. And so that was way more of an equal match than I think the match with Remix was going to be. In fact, quite honestly, at the time, I probably didn't even think I was going to win. I wasn't even drinking my own lemonade, you know what I mean? Or Kool-Aid, whatever you want to call it. I was more just trying to be really cocky and get a name for myself as, wow, that kid, even though he might not have had a chance against this really good, well-known player, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, he had the balls to step up and challenge him for $500. That kid has balls. But this other guy, I thought I was going to beat no problem. I was like, I've seen this guy play. I had beaten him at tournaments before, by the way. I've seen this guy play. I've beaten him before. He's really a one-trick pony. His one trick was that he used Cable. Cable was probably one of the most overpowered characters in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and he was easy to play, and he could do he was one of the few characters that could, if he had 3 supers, he could do a 100% combo to almost every character in the game. So, he was a one-trick pony. He would use Cable. If you killed his Cable, you could pretty much beat him every time, okay? And I don't know what it was that day. I don't know if I just was off my game. I don't know if the cabinet had problems, because I'll be honest, I swear to God, he did a move. It's called the Hyper Viper Beam. What you would do is you do the motion for a super, but then you would do it so that your joystick doesn't stop at forward, it actually goes to up. And just like similarly to some other moves in other games, your character would jump and instantly do the super, and the version of the super in the midair was an instant version. So he could instantly just do it, and if you weren't immediately blocking, you would get hit. And then if he had more of them, he could combo into itself over and over, and that was his 100% combo. So I swear, I still remember this. I still remember this. I swear to God, he did the Hyper Viper Beam. I went to block just like this because it was predictable, and it fucking hit me, and he killed my whole team. And I said, what the fuck is this? What is wrong with this fucking stupid arcade joystick? Or, you know, then it wasn't your own joystick. It was actually the arcade cabinet you were playing on. I said, this is bullshit. I'm paying a $500 money match with some guy that I've beaten before, and he just does a random move, and I can't just even block it. All right? Now, from my perspective, I swear to God I blocked it. Maybe I didn't. And that's the thing. It's always in the eye of the beholder. There was no diagnostic running on the cabinet. There was no way to tell if it malfunctioned. But I ended up losing to both of them that weekend, and I dropped $1,000. And you know, some people thought, you know, okay, Phil lost. Wow, you know, he sucks or whatever. And you're always gonna have those people. But a lot of people actually gave me respect and said, you know what? Not only were you a man of your word, but you actually put up a fight. It wasn't like after you lost you can play. Because I didn't. I shook their hands. That was it. I was like, you know what? You beat me. I don't agree that I got hit by the Viper Beam, but you beat me, here's the money. A lot of people thought I wasn't even going to bring the money, or they thought that I didn't have the money and I was full of shit, and that if I lost, I was going to just duck out and run and never come back and show my face. No, I was a man of honor. If I make a bet with you, I'm going to honor that bet, and I did, and I paid up, and, you know, it is what it is. There were other times that I bet it wasn't as that much money, but it is what it is. You know, $1,000... down the drain. I was young and stupid. Would I ever bet $1,000 again? No. That's really fucking stupid. Okay. So, that's question 1. Question number 2. Now, this one's a short answer. He asks, Phil, do you still talk to Min? There were lots of videos early on in your career of you guys going to tournaments, practicing for Street Fighter 4, but he hasn't been in any videos and you haven't mentioned him in years. Yeah, basically here's what happened. Min was a friend of mine. I've known him from the tournament scene. He's from, I believe he's been into New Jersey area, he's been in the Rhode Island area, he's lived a lot of different places. At one point he lived in Connecticut. It just so happens when I moved into this condo in 2009 and I started making videos seriously and on a regular basis, he lived in Connecticut. And at the time, Street Fighter 4 came out, we were all practicing with each other. So we were kind of like friends. He actually helped me move in here. He actually helped me move a lot of the stuff into the condo in addition to a lot of my other friends. And we played a lot. He was over a lot, and we would play, and we would practice Street Fighter 4. Well, after a little while, he didn't live here anymore. I think what happened was he might have had a falling out with the person who he was living with in Connecticut, and for whatever reason, he's like, I got to get out of here. And eventually he did. He went to New York, and he ended up hanging out with Team Spooky, which is Spooky and Arturo and Nerd Josh and those players. And he frequently, I think he's still with Team Spooky. I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't follow Street Fighter. I don't watch streams. I don't follow any of this shit with their drama. No, I'm not part of it. I said it, I play games. I love Street Fighter. I like to think at least I'm decent at it, even though I don't play it anymore. But I'm out of that scene. I don't want to be part of that fucking scene because that scene is it's changed so much since I was in it that it's all about fucking internet fame now and bullshit. I don't want to be a part of it, all right? And I'm not saying that's Min at all. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying I'm not part of it, so I don't understand anything of it. I don't follow it. So I have no idea if he's with Team Spooky, but last I heard he was living in New York. That's all I know. He moved away. He kept playing Street Fighter when I stopped, and that was pretty much it. Okay. Next question. This is a good one. He says, Phil, during a video where you discussed your history with competitive Street Fighter, you talked about how during an EVO season, I think it was 2006, I think he's wrong, I think it was 2007, you went to all the majors and qualifiers that year, you did well at everyone that you went to, and then at EVO itself, the national level, you didn't do well. It sounded like this was the catalyst for you leaving the fighting game community and competitive Street Fighter. Can you talk more about the particular EVO? Who'd you lose to? Why do you think you didn't do that well at EVO? What changed mentally for you overall after that? Good question. And, it's funny, because as I said, I mean, there was points in my career, I don't want to say career, points in my history with Street Fighter that I just played it for fun, points where I took it super hyper competitive seriously, there were points when I thought maybe I could become like a top level player. I don't know, I never really thought that I would make a living doing it, absolutely not. I'm not one of those people, again, who, I'm going to make a living just playing fighting games and making YouTube videos and going to tournaments and talking shit on stream and that kind of stuff, no. But 2007 was the year that Private Joker is talking about. And in 2007, here's the thing. In 2006, there was a game called Street Fighter Anniversary Collection that came out for Xbox and PlayStation 2. And what this had was a game called AE, Anniversary Edition. It was Street Fighter 2, but there were versions of every character in Street Fighter 2 from every Street Fighter. So you could play as Ryu from the original Street Fighter 2. You could play as Zangief from Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting, or you could play as a character from Super Turbo. Okay, it was like kind of like a dream match where everyone could fight everyone, and it was a mess. I'll be honest, because there were some characters that were ridiculously overpowered and just had ridiculously abusive things that they could do. Because if you remember, I've told you the history of Street Fighter was actually the last episode of Hate Live that I did, and in there I discussed how in those versions of Street Fighter, they always tweaked a little bit, but every time they tweaked it, they changed something and something else became overpowered. So that game had all the overpowered characters were back in it. Now, some of them had variations, some of them were nerfed, but some of them were actually still really fucking good. And that year, I practiced seriously that game in the attempt to try to go to Japan. However, I can't remember what happened. I think I remember that I was trying to go to Japan, and either I didn't go to the final qualifier for some reason, or something happened, and I ended up not going in 2006, but I won EVO East, and then I went to the Nationals. Unfortunately, I did not do good at the national level. I kind of choked a little bit, actually. I had an epic match with Takedo. It was me against Takedo. We both picked Champion Edition M. Bison. We both knew the same strategies of what to do. And I fucked up once, and it led to me losing the match, because once you fuck up once, that Bison can go on this pattern of attack where you can't do anything about it. That's how broken the character is. So because of one mistake, I lost to Takedo, and I also lost to Alex Valle. So it was like, damn, I won EVO East, I did real well all year, and then I fucked up at the National. So then 2007, a new version of the game came out. It was Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, but it was actually, I believe it was on PS2 again. It was a different version of the game. It wasn't arcade edition. It was like a reported version of the game for, PlayStation and Xbox. And when it was released at first, everyone thought it was the best thing ever. David Serlin was behind the project. He was the person who was like the guy who had I guess thought this up or whatever, and he thought that it was really good or whatever. And well, then again, maybe not. I think I might be misspoken. I don't think he was part of that one. Disregard that last statement because I don't know if it's true. But anyway, this new version of Super Turbo came out. Everyone's like, oh, it's the best thing ever. It's finally arcade perfect Super Turbo on the PlayStation 2. It's amazing. And I practiced the fuck out of this game. Okay? I seriously played it so much against everyone I knew who even wanted to play it. I traveled. I traveled to Rhode Island. I traveled to New Jersey. I traveled to Massachusetts. I traveled to New York. That year alone, I won EVO East for it. I won the whole tournament. I went to EVO West and got 5th place. I went to... was it Texas? There was another EVO qualifier that I went to and I placed. And then there was a 4th one I went to and I did badly. So only out of one of all the tournaments that I entered did I do poorly. So literally I had like 3 qualifying spots for the Nationals. Because I had gone to all these tournaments and I had placed in all of them. So because of that, they just picked the best one, which was EVO East, because I had won there. And I ended up in the finals. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing that really sucks about a tournament environment, okay? What happens a lot of the time is, unfortunately, things can happen that are completely unexpected. And what happened this particular year was I had gone to Evo West, which was actually at at San Diego Comic-Con. And when I was there, I befriended some West Coast players who I'd never met before called the Wolf Brothers, okay? And they're two great guys. They're older than me. They were into Street Fighter. They love Street Fighter. They had gone to Japan to play Street Fighter, actually. And they actually were really good guys. They were some of the guys that, unlike when I was traveling, a lot of the times it was a very hostile environment. You go to the West Coast, people hate you because they're East Coast. They don't like you. There's a rivalry with the East Coast. We don't want to support you. You know, you come to challenge us. How dare you, blah, blah, blah. These guys were not like that at all. They were two of the nicest guys I ever met. And Graham Wolf was the guy who I practiced the hell out of. I played with him a lot during Evo West. And then we actually play in the tournament. I did well. I got 5th place, like I said. So when I went to the Nationals, of course, we said, listen, let's play against each other for a whole day. Let's just dominate one station in the practice room and just play each other to give each other maximum exposure to all different characters. And we did. We were picking different characters against each other and all that. And, it was great. It was actually a great learning experience, learning even more about matchups than I ever thought. And it was fun as hell, and I had a lot of fun doing it. First round of the tournament, I'm fighting Graham Wolf. And I don't know if it was luck of the draw. I don't know if there was a conspiracy where they said, oh, we want to fuck Phil over because we know that he's been playing with this guy, and this guy probably has his number now because he knows Phil's playing style at this point. And this is a way to basically screw him over. But basically, being matched up with him, the very first match was the death toll, because I've been playing with him like Evo West and for an entire day and a half, and he knew everything about my gameplay style now. He literally knew everything. We never thought in a million years that we were going to be matched up against each other, and it was just the worst fucking draw possible, and it sucked. It sucked, and I took a loss. I lost to him. I just fucked up, and I took a loss. And then I remember I beat a couple people, and it was another Japanese player. I'm not exactly sure who it was, but another Japanese player beat me. I don't remember who. It might have been Blanca, even. I don't really remember exactly who it was that he was playing with. But he beat me. Now, here's the thing. All right? I had spent, literally, all of my money that I had for any kind of optional thing, not to pay the bills, okay, but any of my spending money, I could have been focusing on saving up for a better place to live. I could have been focusing on getting a better car. I could have been focusing on doing all kinds of important life things for me. And instead, I'd blown all my time and money traveling to play Street Fighter. 2007 was a year of my life that I feel I gave the whole year of my life to Street Fighter. Outside of my work and stuff like that, the only time that I spent outside of that was playing Street Fighter. And to go to the Nationals and have that shit happen, it could crush you. Because you're like, what the fuck? What am I doing with my life? And really, it was like an eye-opening experience. What the fuck am I doing with my life? I just spent all this time and money to play fucking Street Fighter, of all things. And what do I have to show for it? Sure, I got some respect. A lot of people respected me that year and said, wow, that was the year that Phil really showed he's a tournament level guy. Because here's a guy who a lot of people say he's not really good. He's not as good as he even places in tournaments. They talked a lot of shit. But that was the year that I went to so many tournaments and I did well at almost every one. And people respected me after that. And people, when they said DSP, they said he's really good at Super Turbo. He's one of the best. So for that, I mean, in that regard, it was a nice thing to have name recognition, but at the same time, name recognition only gets you so far. Who cares? What did that do for me in reality? Nothing. So I spent all my money and all my time on this hobby. I was like, what the fuck do I have to show for it? And I was so disappointed. And so it was at that time, that was literally the turning point where, by the way, my back started to hurt. Okay? Around that time frame, actually. And I said, you know what? Enough is enough. I said, I'm done. I'm quitting cold turkey. I'm not saying I'll never go back to it, but as of right now, I'm quitting Street Fighter cold turkey. There's no reason for me to continue playing, and I really am just upset with the whole situation that I spent all my time and money. Incidentally, around that same time period, one of the best arcades of the East Coast, which was in Rhode Island, unfortunately flooded and was destroyed, and really that was my best place for practice, and it was gone. So really there was not even anywhere good to practice anymore if I wanted to continue to play Street Fighter, which was unfortunate, and I pretty much gave it up. I hung up the towel, so to speak. And then it was that at that point, that year of mid 2000s, or what was that, July, August 2007 when EVO was, until the end of 2008 when I got back into console gaming. I said I want to get back into console gaming. I've been out of it for a long time. My back hurts now, so I can't do physical stuff anymore, especially all the travel and all that was so much of a toll on me. I'm going to focus on console gaming. And for that year to year and a half, I played a ton of console games. I remember some of the best ones. Tales of Vesperia, Blue Dragon. I played Uncharted 1 because I'd never had a PS3. I finally bought a PS3, played Uncharted on it. That was the year when I played a lot of games, but I didn't do YouTube playthroughs. Okay? And that's where a lot of the games that I played as like Retro Replay are coming from, because I played them during that era, but I wasn't recording. That was the era when YouTube was just on the cusp of becoming very popular. Everyone was like, oh, did you see that new website, YouTube? And people were talking about it like that. And that's why after doing this for about a year and a half, I went to YouTube, I saw other people doing it, and I said, I bet this would be great if people just saw me talking shit and doing commentary over my gameplay. A lot of these guys are doing instructional videos. That's not what I want to do. I just want to fuck around in the games. That's what I did, and the rest is history. So, hey, if I had done really well in 2007 at EVO, I might have never made a video for YouTube, and I might not be here today. So it is what it is. You might, some people might see that, wow, Phil wasted all his money and all his time that year, and what a waste. I don't see it that way. I see that it's in the end, it turned out into something awesome. And that awesome thing is this right now. This stream I'm doing, this podcast I'm doing, would have never come about if I continued to play Street Fighter at the level I was playing it at. So maybe it was a good thing that I ended up where I did in the long run. Okay? All right, now, the last question. This is a good one, too. Excuse me. This is a good one, too. Is, again, last question from Private Joker. And he says, hey, Phil, during the Super Battle Opera qualifiers that you attended a couple years ago, and I think if he's talking, I think it was either 2008 or 2009. It was the year when John Rambo qualified. And I didn't, okay? Whatever year that was, because I don't even remember. After you didn't win the first tournament, because there were two tournaments, and the winner of each tournament would actually go to Japan, okay? And a Vega player won the first tournament. You chose to play the second tournament with DJ. And let me explain the rules. The way it was in the first tournament, anyone could play as any character, but you had to stay with that character during the entire tournament, because that would be the character you would play if you went to Japan to represent the United States of America in this Super Battle Opera Super Street Fighter II Turbo qualifier. I know that's an insanely long statement, okay? A Vega player won the first tournament, meaning that I couldn't play with Vega, and Vega's one of my best characters in Super Turbo. So I had to choose what was going to be the second character that I would play with in the second tournament. All right. So he says the second tournament you did not choose to play... oh, here we go. You chose to play the other tournament with DJ, okay? There are 3 tournaments now that I'm thinking about it. I'm getting so confused now. But after Vega was eliminated, I chose to play with DJ, okay? During the third tournament, that was the last one, you played against Dom Dai in the grand finals in a close match, but you lost. I want to know why you didn't use Balrog. Balrog is the character you won EVO East in 2005 and 2006 with. That's not true. It was 2006 and 2007. And he's much higher on the tier list than DJ. Don't you think it would have been a better pick overall for the second and third tournament? And again, that's from Private Joker. Well, this is an interesting question, because a lot of the times in tournament level gameplay, you may see a top player picking a character that may not be necessarily the highest ranked character in the game, but it's a character that they're really good with. You might say, but that doesn't make sense. Just pick the character that's more powerful, right? Sometimes it's collusion. I'll be honest. Sometimes these people are just colluding to split pots. No, that's not what this was about. This was about going to Japan, okay? In a lot of cases, when you're in a tournament mindset, you have to think of a couple things. You have to think of, number one, who am I playing against? What is the potential of what characters will this person pick? Okay. Number two, because this was a unique tournament, two of the people who had already played it and qualified for spots I knew were out of the tournament. I thought that DJ would actually be a better character against the remaining opponents who were in the tournament, okay? And number 3, in particular, Damdai had been messing around with certain characters such as T-Hawk, who is an extremely good tick throwing character, which means that he has throw traps, things he can do that lead into his insanely powerful command throw. He even has some loops where he can trick you and throw you repeatedly with the command throw, which would pretty much destroy your game. So my counter for that was DJ. Now I had no idea who Damdai would pick in the tournament. He had the ability to choose it. He could have chose T-Hawk or he could have chosen Ryu. It just so happens he ended up playing with Ryu, which is a much harder match for my DJ. And if you actually watch the matches, they're fucking good matches. They're very close. I actually managed to win one, even though it's very grueling and it's almost an impossible matchup for a particularly good Ryu player to lose. And I actually remember the match. The first match, I made a mistake and he beat me. I said, oh fuck, I'm almost done because if I lose again, I'm out. The second match, I put everything I possibly could into that match. The best hand-eye coordination, the best reactions, the best timing, combos, tricks, footsies, and mix-ups. I did everything. I threw everything out there that I possibly could. And I beat him that game. But I had to beat him another game. And I actually remember, this probably is one of the very few times in my life I could tell you I felt mentally exhausted. I was like, I had to use so much power, brain power, and hand-eye coordination, and everything to win that match. I'm just drained. And I remember in that third match, I was like, I just can't do it. I was trying, and I was losing. My hand-eye coordination wasn't as good, and I wasn't thinking as well. I wasn't tricking them as much. I wasn't, putting as much thought into it, and I blew it, and I lost. And it was like, was it a crushing blow to me? It was disappointing because my whole life I'd wanted to go to Japan, and actually I had even talked to my boss that year and made arrangements that if I had won, I was going to be able to go to Japan and do all this stuff. And then not qualifying was disappointing. But by no means do I think that was like, oh my God, it was horrible. I really put it all out there, that match, and I just got outplayed. But it was first of all, it's a hard matchup for DJ to begin with, but by a very skilled player. Damdai is an extremely skilled player. By the way, he plays a shit ton more than me. He still, to this day, apparently is traveling everywhere to play Street Fighter, which I find pretty crazy. And, he got to go to Japan and he blew it when he went there. He did. He did. He blew it when he went there, but would I have done any better? Probably not. I probably would have blown it too if I had gone to Japan. And that's that. That's your answer. Okay? All right, so that is it. Those are all the questions that Private Joker asked me. That's a really nice, solid back-in-the-day segment. Lots of content covered there about my history in Street Fighter. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm now going to take a final break, and when I come back in just a few short minutes, we're going to now actually do the stream Q&A. So if you have not yet, this is your very last chance to submit a question via the stream raffle on Twitch. When we come back, I'm going to start drawing random questions, and we're going to do that till about 11 p.m. when we're going to end the stream, and we're all going to watch the press conference of Sony and see what they have to tell us about PS4 tonight, okay? So I'll be right back, and after a very short break, hang in there, and I'll see you for the Q&A. I did it again. I clicked the wrong thing. I did it again. Okay, everybody. I know that I am probably several seconds delayed on the stream, especially because it's been lagging up all night. But I would ask that at this time, if my mods could actually... Oh, excuse me. Put the stream chat into sub-only mode. And the reason we're doing that is because we're going to also close the raffle. And we're going to draw questions that you guys have been submitting during the stream tonight. And I'm going to answer them for about 20-25 minutes until we get ready for the press conference coming up. So let's go ahead. Mods, if you could please do that. And let's get going. Okay, here we go. All right. The first question is from Batman Cool 27, and he asks, boobs. It's not a question, he's just boobs. I don't have any boobs I could show you. If I had some boobs that I could easily just turn to you and show you boobs, I would. But I don't know if I actually have just boobs I can show you. Hold on a second. Oh, God, it's dusty. Oh, fuck. Here you go. Okay. Okay. Boobs. You see them? Boobs. There's boobs. Boobs, big titties. There, you like that? Hey, you want a motorboat? Oh, my God. There. There. Are you happy now? You see what you made me do? There. Boobs for you. You son of a bitch. Asking stupid things in the Q&A. Always ruining the Q&A. God damn it. You and your stupid boobs. There, you got your boobs. Get your boobs off. There, you happy now? Oh, my God. Okay. Can we get another question now, please? Here it is. Oh, sorry, there is one already. And it says, this is from, hold on. All right, this is from Optic Darkside, and he asks, since you picked up NBA 2K14, what would be your favorite NBA team, and do you have one? The answer is I do not. There was one small point in my life when I did follow basketball. At that time, I was a fan of the New York Knicks. However, it has been quite a long time since that time, and I do not follow basketball whatsoever anymore. Outside of the people who you see on TV like LeBron and stuff like that, I couldn't even tell you the names of any good players. I'm not into it at all. I'm going to be like a deer in headlights playing NBA 2K14, which should be great. Excellent. Okay, let's see. Next question, please. This is from L Games 8, and he asks, will you be giving the PS4 and the Xbox One an official review score, or are you just going to compare and contrast the systems? It'd be very... Oh, people are saying I skipped one? Oh, I'm going to have to go back. All right, I'll go back in a minute and read that other one. No, I'm not going to give them a review score because that's absolutely ridiculous. In order to actually judge a console, you need to see over the course of its lifespan what it does, because it might fail today, it might be better in the future. What I could say is if I think that the launches are good or not, but I'm not going to give it a number score. That's absolutely ridiculous to do something like that, okay? Let's see what question I skipped. Oh, here we go. Wait a minute. No, it's the same question. What? Now I'm confused. Oh, Chewbacca pasted it. Okay, I see what's going on. All right, the next question is this then. It's from Hockey Mask 27, and he says, can you break down how the last generation of consoles went for you? For example, when you got them, specific games that stand out for the first games you ever got. Feel free to include red rings and other failures. Okay. Well, the first console of this previous generation obviously was the Xbox 360. It came out first. What was that? 2006, I believe it came out. And I did not get it at launch. At the time, I worked at Best Buy. And as I said, at that point, I was heavily into Street Fighter. I didn't care about Xbox 360. I was like, fuck that. I could give two shits about it. I want to play Street Fighter. And then, of course, massive hype launched around it, and then I wanted it. And so what happened was someone had returned one to our Best Buy. And I worked there, and I said, now, wait a minute. Why would someone have returned this Xbox 360? This is fishy, all right? So I remember I said, I'll buy it, but I'm going to probably, you know, if it's something wrong with it, I'm going to bring it back. And I brought it, and for over 2 weeks, it worked fine. And I was like, I don't know why they brought this back. This is fishy. Why did they bring it back? Then all of a sudden, right? All of a sudden, I'd say about 2.5 weeks in, I'm playing a game, and the screen becomes green, fucked up lines, and next thing you know, dies red ring. I'm like, oh no. I've got the dreaded red ring of death, and at that point, it was kind of like, it wasn't widespread known how bad the red ring of death problem was. You heard rumors about it, but you didn't necessarily hear direct reports, oh my god, so many Xboxes are failing. So at that point, I didn't return it or anything yet. And I tried fixes, and I did find ways. If I just didn't play it for a little while and I turned it back on, it would work sometimes. But then eventually, after like another week, it just wouldn't work at all. And I ended up turning that one into Microsoft for warranty. And about a month, I think it was a little less than a month later, I ended up getting a replacement in the mail. And then after that, that one failed. That one went in for warranty. I went and bought a replacement. Then I had 2 Xboxes for a while, which made sense because once I started getting heavily into certain things like Street Fighter, I always needed 2 Xboxes. But I have been through, since the beginning, since the launch of the Xbox 360, I actually believe I have owned about 10 Xbox 360s. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not kidding. 10 motherfucking Xbox 360s I have owned. Yeah. And most of the time what I would do is I would buy, I had one, it would fail. Send that into Microsoft, buy a replacement. All right? Play with that one, play with that one. I would get the other replacement back from Microsoft, put that one on the shelf, play with this, play with this. Oops, this one died. Send that one into Microsoft. Oh, take out the replacement from before, play that one, play that one, play that one until this one comes back, and that one would always be my backup. It changed a little bit when Street Fighter 4 came out, because then I had 2, and I actually would bring 2 Xboxes to tournaments for people to play on. And that's pretty much my history. If you want to talk about like what were the games that I played, I remember I did get Call of Duty, which I already had on my PC, but I wanted to see what it was like on Xbox 360, and I did like it, even though it wasn't as good as PC. At that point, it was weird, because that was the first FPS game. I think it was Call of Duty 2. It was either Call of Duty 2 or Call of Duty 3, whatever the one that was the launch title for Xbox 360. That game was the first FPS game I had ever played on a pad. That's right, up to then, I was a keyboard and mouse guy. I had Unreal Tournament 2, the Quake games, stuff like that. All that I had played on my gaming PC, keyboard and mouse. So this was the first time I was actually playing it on a console with a gamepad. It felt real weird to me. I'm just trying to remember if there were any other big games that I really liked at that time. Again, it's like I said, I was so heavily in the Street Fighter. Guess what I played a lot? Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting was on the freaking Xbox Live, an Xbox Live Arcade. It was awful. It was the one so incredibly laggy. But it was one of the first actual fighting games online with full online multiplayer. And even though it was laggy, I kind of put up with it and I played it, but it was bad. It was just so fucking laggy. PlayStation. PlayStation 3, I have owned 2. Well, 2? Yes, I've only owned 2 PlayStation 3s ever. One of them is right over there. It's the one that died just a few weeks ago. What was it, a month? It was the night, that's right. It was the night of Grand Theft Auto 5's midnight release. It died during the day, and if you remember, I had to go get a replacement because I wanted a Blu-ray player, and I wanted to be able to play Beyond Two Souls, and there was a downloadable that game Rain, which ended up no one liked it. That game Rain and Beyond Two Souls were the 2 games that I wanted to play on it. And now that I'm thinking about it, there probably will be 1 or 2 more PlayStation 3 exclusives in the run of this console, so it wasn't a total waste. And I did use the Blu-ray player quite a lot in the past month, so I'm glad that I did go and get a replacement. It was just unfortunate that it happened at the very end of the console's life cycle. I mean, here I am tonight. I'm going to go get a PS4. The PS4 is a Blu-ray player. So immediately my PS3 as a Blu-ray player is already obsolete, and I'm like, fuck me. I wish that it had lasted a little bit longer, but it did not. Alas, it did not. Okay, so I guess that answers that question. As for games for PS3, when did I get my PS3? I got it that year that I told you. What was it? The year 2000, late 2007, early 2008, when I was getting back into console games. I was kind of burnt out on Street Fighter, and I wanted to get back into it. And I knew there were PlayStation exclusive games that I needed to get the PS3, and that's when I bought it. Okay? Okay, what were those games? Uncharted. In particular, I remember Uncharted was really good. Everyone was reviewing it highly, and I wanted to play it, and that's why I got the PS3. Okay. Let us, unless we already have done it, let's see. I don't think we have. Oh, wait, yes, we did. We drew another question here. The question is as follows. Oh, this one's from Furious Kirk 6, and he asks, hello, Phil. Are you excited for 2015 in terms of movies, such as Star Wars Episode 7, Avengers 2, The Age of Ultron, Batman vs. Superman, Terminator reboot, Jurassic World, etc.? Yes and no. Yes and no. In regards to Star Wars 7, considering how bad Star Wars Episodes 1, 2, and 3 were, I would say I'm not excited for 7 because it's like, fool me once, shame on me. No, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Okay? And that's kind of how the mindset I'm going to have going into a Star Wars continuation. But at the same time, it's not being made by fucking George Lucas. It's being made by other people. So maybe they won't be fucking insane and ruin it. It's made by Disney. Disney usually does a good job with the things that they support. So if Disney does a good job, I mean, this could be amazing. It could be Star Wars restarted, continued the story, brand new storylines, whole new product lines. It could be absolutely insane. It could be a great thing. In fact, I just recently, take a look. I just bought this last month. Star Wars, the original trilogy on Blu-ray. The only problem is George Lucas and all his fucking amazing creative vision ruined them. And basically when he made these re-releases, he added in all this shitty CGI. He did this in the 1990s. He re-released his movies and he put all this shitty, horrible CGI in them that made the movies look bad and looked out of place. And he's like, oh, but it was the original vision of the movies that it should have had that in it. George Lucas, suck my dick. You're an asshole. Seriously. Okay, so I am excited. Now, you're talking about other stuff. Avengers 2, I really liked Avengers 1 to a point. Like, the second half of the movie, action-packed, was good. The first half I hated. I thought it was boring. A new Jurassic Park could be good, but I really liked Jurassic Park 1, and I even liked the sequel, The Lost World. Part 3 was garbage. Part 1 and 2 were really good, so I don't know if a reboot, per se, is going to do well. And in addition to that, I already can tell you right now, it's going to be all fucking CGI. And I am not a fan of movies that are all CGI. The Steven Spielberg Jurassic Park movies in the 90s, he didn't use CGI. He actually used animatronics. That's why it looks so fucking real. It was the most groundbreaking animatronics ever made, ever, in the history of movies. And I loved it, and then ever since then, it was like CGI, 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 and I don't know how I'm going to like a Jurassic Park movie that's fucking all CGI. But yeah, you make some of it. Batman vs. Superman. Oh, good point. I just saw Man of Steel the other day, and I tweeted about it. And I said it wasn't bad. I think that a lot of people hate on it a little bit too much. But at the same time, the plot was one of those ridiculous things where, like, everyone just magically happens to be where they need to be with no explanation. So, Superman goes to see his mom. All of a sudden, Lois Lane drives up in a cop car. How the fuck did you know he was there? At the end of the movie, Superman's fighting Zod in Grand Central Station. Lois Lane walks down the stairs. Oh, I'm here. What? How the fuck did you know he was fighting at Grand Central Station? He just arrived there fighting Zod. How would you know he's there? So there's stuff like that that's like, that's stupid. But outside of that, it was all right. It wasn't as bad. It definitely was better than that fucking disgusting donkey turd bomb Superman Returns from fucking, what was it, the mid-2000s? That was a piece of shit. That is the definition of cinematic dookie shit. Diarrhea explosion out the fucking ass, bad movie. That movie, I could not believe how bad that was. Thank God that we can write it off and say, fuck that movie, it never existed. Now, am I, like all these other assholes, a huge detractor of Ben Affleck being Batman? No. I say give him a shot. Like I said a few months ago when I got asked that same question about Ben Affleck Michael Keaton did a good job as Batman, and we never thought he would. He was known up to then as like Mr. Mom and all these other characters. We never thought he would do good. He did really good. Give Ben Affleck a shot. If he fucks it up, he fucks it up. But if he's good, he's good. So I'm kind of giving that the benefit of the doubt. The thing is, though, it's like I've said, I'm not a big moviegoer guy, and a lot of people say to me, Phil, I don't understand what you mean. Listen, I'm going to be honest with everyone. Where I live in Connecticut is probably a hotbed of people who are the most selfish, self-centered, not aware of their surroundings, and just nasty fucking people. They only care about themselves. They're dumb. And I know I'm insulting people in Connecticut. Well, guess what? It's true. When you go to the movie theater here, I swear to God, they bring babies to movies with fucking monsters. If I go to see Avengers 2, some woman will be there with 4 quintuplets that are like half a year old. Oh, this is age appropriate for them. And as soon as the monster goes on the screen, what the fuck? People on their phones, constantly on their fucking phones. And I'm like, what? I paid like $20 to be here for this? Seriously. It's like, it would be one thing if it was one asshole and you could stand up and say, hey, asshole, turn your phone off or I'm going to smash it. But everyone's doing it. So we're going to go stand up to the whole theater. Everyone turn off your phones, assholes, and start gyrating like this. Because then they're all going to fucking beat the shit out of you because they're all on their phones. I swear to God, these people in this area, I don't know. I just can't go to the movies and have a good time. It's very rare. The only times I can do that if there's no one there. Like, for example, I went to the movies with my girlfriend to see The Conjuring earlier this year. We went at an early time when there was only a very few people there. Mostly it was couples like us, and that was a great experience. But if you don't do that, if you're like, oh, it's a new movie, I want to go Friday night, forget it. Fuck no. Dude, that was like, you don't want to be anywhere near the movie theater at that point. No. Okay. Let's see if any more questions. I'm probably going to answer one or two more because we're getting short on time here. Let's see. Here we go. This one's from Swindled F, and he says, hold on. Was there any kind of sport you played when you were younger in school? When I was younger, like let's say when I was like grade school level, I really liked baseball. I was a fan of the New York Mets. I went to many of their games. Probably about, I don't want to say many. I probably went to maybe 4 or 5 Mets games, I think, over the course of my life. I used to collect baseball cards. At one point, I wanted to try out for Little League, but we missed it. We actually missed the tryouts. We thought that it was 1 week, and it wasn't. It was the week before. And I was like, oh, fuck. And so that was like earlier in my life. Later in my life, when I was like maybe 7th, 8th grade in grammar school, we all played football at recess. So I was into football at that point. I liked the Jets. I was heavily watching football at that point. And then, of course, high school, everything changes because at high school, it's all different friends, all different people. The people who liked football in high school were these giant fucking muscled bruisers. And here I was 6 feet tall. But if you can believe it, in high school, I was a skinny string bean. Like, I was very skinny. And, I couldn't even do this and make a muscle. There'd be nothing there. And not to say that there's a lot there now. But, I lifted in my life, which is why I grew muscle. I had, like, nothing. I was just fucking skin and bone. And at that point, it was like, we don't want you on the fucking team. You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do? Are these kids who were like fucking roided freaks on the football team? So it was actually probably around high school time when I kind of lost interest in sports and moved on to other stuff. Okay, let's see what other questions have been drawn. Okay, here we go. From the Clear Tiger 1, he says, Phil, you said you're moving. First of all, I didn't say that. I said I'm trying to move. My strong, serious goal for 2014 is by the end of the year to either know exactly where I'm moving, to even maybe even made an offer, if not moved, because I need to get out of Connecticut. At this point, there's almost no benefits to living here. Everything's way too expensive. The taxes are too high. And let's be honest with me, overall making less money with coming up an impending new contract negotiation with Machinima, which I may or may not even be staying with them. Who knows? It all depends on what happens with that. I don't know how much I'm going to be making. I need to be saving as much money as possible and not blowing it on high taxes and bullshit in Connecticut, okay? So, let me finish the question. He says, how will this affect co-op with John Rambo with you being so much further away? Well, first of all, I don't know where I'm moving. The truth of the matter, however, though, is probably that I will be moving somewhere further away. I'm looking at states right now. I'm targeting states that have very low taxes or no income tax in the state. That have low sales tax in the state, where the homes are lower priced, where homeowners' taxes are low, and where there's lots of laws that are in place to support self-employed people and or people who want to start their own business. Ultimately, I've said this before, my goal with what I'm doing here on YouTube and Twitch, I'd like to make enough money so that maybe I do this, let's say overall I've done it for what, 3-4 years now, maybe I do it for 10 years total, and then I say, okay, that's it. It's not what I'm doing all the time anymore. I may partially do YouTube and stuff on the side, but I've accumulated enough money that maybe I can open my own small business. And now I can focus on that primarily as the way of make income. And the YouTube thing can always be a cool thing on the side, but primarily I don't want to always be doing YouTube. I would like to do maybe a small business or something on the side. I have no idea what yet. I haven't even begun to think about that yet, okay? But that's kind of my goal. So obviously I want to move somewhere that's conducive to me doing that, not somewhere that's restrictive, that has 100 laws against it, like in Connecticut. In Connecticut, there's a law upon law that you get taxed more if you're self-employed. What? Why? Why, if you're self-employed or you own your own business, do you have to pay more taxes? Fuck you, Connecticut lawmakers. You're a bunch of fucking idiots. So I need to get out of here. Now, to actually get to the point of the question, okay, what's going to happen with John Rambo and co-op? Well, first of all, let's be quite honest here. All right. We love to do co-op together. Absolutely. But even now, it's a pain. It's a painstaking process for John to be driving an hour to an hour and a half every Saturday or weekend or whenever he comes to do co-op. It is. It's a pain. It's gas money for him. Now, for him, number one, he has a blast doing it. He loves playing games. We love having fun together and doing that kind of stuff. So in that regard, it's worth it. But also, let's face it, we make money on the videos that we put out when we do co-op, and I actually give John a cut of the money. And a lot of people may say, what? Phil helps? Yeah, I pay John. He's putting in work just like I am. I shouldn't take all the credit. That's fucked up. So we made an arrangement of how we do it, and he makes money. Every time he comes for co-op, he makes money. And I hate to say it, but there are a lot of people out there who don't like me, but who are fans of John, and then they just say, oh, well, John's at Phil's today. I'm shit on the videos. I'm not going to watch them. You realize that if the more you watch them, that it helps both me and John, right? But I guess a lot of people don't realize that. They just like to be in their own little fucking selfish mindset, whatever. But, so, obviously if I move, there's, John can't fly out to do co-op with me on the weekends, all right? First of all, we've talked about a little bit about smart guys. Now, who knows if in a year what's going to happen with pro wrestling or whatever. Obviously, we would like to continue to do all of our stuff that we can do. So smart guys, we talked about, we said smart guys is an easy fix. It's something we could do in a podcast live over the internet. We do it like that now, only he's on the couch. Instead of that, we could do it like his show, where he'll call in. We'll have him on video here. I'll be here. We've done it like that before. We did it once before like that, remember? So there's no reason why we wouldn't be able to do it like that again if we had to. Now, in that regard, obviously the little bit of changing quality of the show, but I think overall it wouldn't really affect it. I think that smart guys would probably be about as good as it is right now if we were to do it as a podcast style show. However, obviously the co-op is going to change, all right? And I'll be honest with everyone. Right now, the way that we do co-op primarily is that if there's a game that we want to play, let's be honest, I buy it. John comes over and we play it. So, perfect example here. Knack. It's only 2-player local multiplayer. There's not even online play. It's out. That would be out. We wouldn't be able to do 2-player co-op. Games like NBA 2K14, if John had a PS4, and if John bought this and it, we could play it. However, I'd probably say about 75 to 80% of the time, the games that we play, I'm the one who buys them, because obviously it's a tax write-off for me. It makes sense. I'm the one who buys them. I supply the hardware, and then we play the game. Though there are a couple exceptions. Earlier this year, John bought Rayman Legends, and he's playing it for himself, but I don't think that game even had online co-op. Every once in a while, there are exceptions where there are games that he likes so much, like Grand Theft Auto 5. He already had that game. He liked this. He was going to get it regardless. He got it. We could have still done some of the Suicide Kings and the Grand Theft Auto 5 online stuff regardless over the internet. But it is what it is. In reality, things change. In reality, people mature, people grow up. And I've been here in Connecticut pretty much, I hate to say it, but against my will, because I grew up here, I was here when I was born, and up until now, I haven't had the financial means to get out. At this point in my life, I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to get my own place with my girlfriend to start a family. And I'm not saying kids, I'm just saying to live out there together as a family, and to have my own life away from all of this Connecticut where I grew up. And yes, I'm going to miss my parents. Yes, I'm obviously going to miss some friends here who I still have locally, who I'm not going to see anymore, or not as much. Yes, I'm going to obviously miss doing in-person co-op with John Rambo, but things change and things evolve, and I'm not going to hold back my life just because I don't want to give up co-op. You know what I mean? We will find times during the year to do stuff when we're both going to buy a game, okay? But for the most part, it's going to basically be, if we both buy a game that has online capability, we'll do it. Outside of that, I don't know what else to say. That's life. And, I've been lucky enough to have a friend like John, who since 2010, the day when I lost my job, he's been here pretty consistently when he was able to be here to do co-op with me and to do Smart Guys with me. And he's been a great friend. Him being able to drive, knowing that I have a back injury and I can't drive on the highway, him being willing to drive here week after week to have fun on the weekends, and of course, obviously to make videos and to make a little bit of money out of it as well, is an amazing thing. It's an amazing testament to how good of a person John is. And obviously, I'm going to be sad that might go away. But at the same time, people grow up. And at this point, like I said, I'm at another stage in my life. I want to start my own family. I want to start having my own stuff that's not confined to a tiny little fucking condo in an insanely expensive state for no reason. It's time to move on, not from YouTube and Twitch, but from this place, and to move to the next level. And trust me, when I have my own office, which is considered a filming studio, I'll be able to do all kinds of new projects with green screen and creative things and professional level filming that I can't do here because I just don't have the space or the means to do it. I think that you'll really like what I'm able to do when I have a bigger place, new series and stuff. It's going to be fun. And if I lose the co-op, it's unfortunate. But hey, it'll only make it all the more special when the few times a year when John and I do both buy a game and we're able to do this online co-op, you're going to love it because we don't get to do it that often. And let's be honest here, no matter where I move, there probably will be potential to have like a convention or whatever once a year, and I'll probably attend. Maybe I'll have everyone come out and we'll all hang out in person and do some fun stuff in person, at least when we can. It is what it is. The future, we don't know what the future holds. We'll have to see. But for now, that's pretty much the best answer I have for you on that subject. And on that note, that is going to end Hate Live. Hate Live, this is the biggest, the most attended Hate Live ever. I want to thank everyone who watched on Twitch TV for putting up with the horrible frame rate drops that I've had over the past 2 hours. I want to thank everyone who watched this on YouTube. I am now going to sign off, upload this to YouTube, watch the Sony press conference, and then around 11:45, I'm out of here to go pick up my PS4. I'll be back on Twitch TV, live streaming the unboxing and all that. It's coming up imminently. It's very exciting. Number 13. It's lucky number 13 to me, not unlucky, so fuck that bullshit. I don't believe in superstition anyway. I'm excited. Thank you, everyone, for attending Hate Live tonight. Have a good night. I'll see some of you in an hour. If not, I'll see you on YouTube for the launch of the PlayStation 4. Be there. Peace out.